Today, we are fortunate to be joined again by Coin Shop Chris. He's going to tell us about what's going on the retail side, bullion sales, coin sales. But first, we're going to talk about a couple big stories this week. Chris, welcome back to Ron's Basement.
It's great to be back on.
Well, you're a favored guest on our show, so let's dive right in. There was some news this week that generated some real interest. I'm sure the viewers saw this as well. The president of Kenya advised his citizens to get out of the US dollar. Any thoughts on that?
Wow, look what Brazil's doing it. Mexico's thinking about doing it. Like we said in the last video, Ron, if this does happen, dollars are coming home and we're going into hyperinflation.
What do you think that would mean for the price of gold and silver?
Silver and gold are going to go up. Don't know how much. We could see, if this does happen, we could see $22.50 for gold. We could see between $35, $45 in silver before the end of the year's out.
Yeah, and it seems like, now there's a new term for this called de-dollarization, which, if you do a simple Google search of it, it's becoming, there's Reuters articles, Bloomberg articles, CNN, Fox, everybody's now, it's pretty scary, starting to recognize that there's a growing movement to move away from the dollar. And, that can only mean one thing for silver and gold.
Yeah, it's going to go up.
Yes.
It's just going to go up. We've talked about the 90%. I cannot keep 90% in stock. I cannot keep a lot of stuff in stock. It comes in, it goes out.
It's moving.
90% is moving faster than ever before. I cannot advise anybody to buy anything. Well, we're not buying nothing. We're trading our dollars in for real money. Everybody should have some 90%. Don't need a lot. There are some people out there won't touch the 90% for whatever reason why. I really, I can't give advice, but I recommend everybody to have $10, $20 in face.
Some people refer to it as junk. And some people refer to it as constitutional. I heard something interesting this week, Chris, where that term constitutional comes from is because that's what the Constitution says, that gold and silver are the only forms of real legal tender. Have you ever heard that?
Exactly. That's what the Constitution says.
Yeah.
That's the only form we should be having. Go back to 1920s. You could buy a good men's suit for for a gold $20 piece. Today, that same $20 gold piece, it's worth about $2,000. You can still buy a good man's suit for $2,000. It's not because the gold and silver went up or down. It's the dollar's gotten weaker over the years.
Yeah. And you brought something up. You and I think we need to touch on this one more time. When you acquire silver or gold, you aren't buying it. You're converting your paper money into real money. I think people like to think like, oh, I'm buying gold, I'm buying silver. No, you're converting. Is that an accurate statement, Chris?
That is, yeah. A lot of people think silver and gold's an investment. No, it's protecting your wealth.
Yeah.
If you want to invest in something, invest in stocks. That's an investment. Silver and gold is protecting your wealth. You're being your own bank. I read this week, this past month, $135 billion people took cash out of the banks.
Yeah.
What's that saying?
Yeah, well, and I think I told you earlier in the week, I was at my local coin shop here in St. Louis, actually there to get, they do jewelry repair also, to get my Susie's wedding ring fixed. And I asked the person working there, I said, have you guys been selling a lot of silver and gold? And she said, it feels like everybody's draining their bank accounts and buying silver and gold.
Exactly. Just today, I sold a monster box to one person of American, excuse me, not American, scratch that, make of Canada maples. Whole monster
Wow.
box, 500 ounces.
Wow.
You don't see that every day.
No, that's a big purchase.
People are coming in, they're just not buying 1, 2 ounces. They're coming in buying 2 or 3 rolls. Yeah, you do have people coming in buying because they can't afford it. 1, 2, 3 ounces at a time. That's all fine. We welcome all of that. But the money is, it seems like Fridays and Saturdays is our big days. It's either payday, well, it's the first of the month now, so Social Security checks are out. People are just transferring their money into silver and gold.
Yeah, yeah. And this is a good time.
The 90%, I just can't, I just cannot believe how much we cannot keep in stock or we cannot get in. It's gone. It's just, you get it in, it sells.
That's crazy.
You can't call up a deal and say, I need 1,000 face. It's not happening.
Wow.
I can call up the dealer tomorrow morning or Monday morning and say, I need 4 boxes of maples. I can get those just fine. Silver Eagles, that's a whole different story. Why would anybody want to pay $40, $45 for a Silver Eagle? I don't know right now. I don't know. My thought right now, my thought used to be no more than $30 per an ounce. I think you and I talked about that, Ron. It's getting to be about $33. If you can get any silver, I need $33 an ounce, $33 or less, it's a buy. Trade it in. Trade your dollars in for silver and gold.
Wow. So what are like just kind of generic silver rounds selling for right now?
We are at right now about 28.55, 28.65, depending on the round itself.
Okay.
There are more common rounds like the Buffalo rounds. Those are a little bit cheaper. Some of the fancier ones, yeah, we can get a little bit more. It just depends what it really has on them. If someone comes, if we had a Star Trek, I don't recommend anybody go out to trade their money in for a Star Trek round or a Pac-Man round or any of these fancy ones. You're not going to get your premiums back. You will get them back if silver goes to 50, 85 bucks. When it gets that high, it don't matter what's going to be. If you want to turn, if the dollar's still around, shops are going to pay you spot. They're not going to pay you more than I see. They're not going to pay you more than spot. Don't matter what it is.
Yeah, for some of the kind of unique collectible items. You and I always try to hammer home the point. The two most important things are, number one, make sure you're getting real silver, and number two, get it at the lowest price per ounce that you can get it.
It's about ounces.
Yeah.
It's not about fancy stuff. If you want fancy stuff, that's fine. You're just going to get less. I'm more of a silver guy. I think you are too, Ron. We've talked about that many, many times. Yep. But if you're really into silver, get the lowest stuff you can buy. That and gives you more.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That gives you more ounces to buy.
And I thought it was interesting. Earlier in the week, you texted me a picture of a solicitation that you got in the mail, actually, for like people looking to buy silver right now. Is that right?
Yes. Don't know where they got my information from. Could have been from eBay. Could have been from one of the shops, one of the bullion deals online. They sell you information. They say they don't. Well, whoever, this happened back in 2011, when silver was at 50 bucks an ounce. There was newspaper ads. These companies come into your town, or they give you a postcard and they want you to sell them to them. They say it's gonna be the best price. Well, make sure it is the best price. Don't just trust an ad you see on a postcard or a newspaper. What happened in 2011? These people came in to a lot of smaller towns or medium-sized towns, have a big advertisement. We're buying. And 3 days later, they're gone. Did you really get the best price? You really gonna get the best price? Don't know.
Yep, yep. And
Um,
Chris, you touched on this earlier. We were talking about constitutional silver and how it's outlined in the US Constitution that silver and gold are the only forms of real money. I think it's important that we mention to the viewers as well that there are now 22 states that have legislation that's either passed or somewhere in the process, which doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to pass. But we have 22 states that are working on or have already passed gold and silver legal tender legislation. Seems like the states are kind of doing what the Eastern countries are doing, the Eastern central banks that are buying a bunch of gold and silver, that the individual states are a little afraid what's going on a federal level or a national level in this country, and starting to take some action to help protect their citizens. Any thoughts on that whole situation?
well, I'd like to congratulate Texas and the state of Maine finally coming on board. Here's
Yeah.
your 2 more states. You know, I think eventually all 50 states will fall into this. You know, we have all heard there's digital currency coming out in July. Guys and girls, this is not good. You do not want Uncle Sam knowing everything you buy.
First Mining Gold is a development company advancing 2 of the largest gold projects in Canada. Springpole in Ontario and Duparquet, located in Quebec, each already has 5 million ounces of gold reserves, but exploration initiatives are underway at both projects to find even more gold. First Mining is well financed, has 0 debt, and owns an interest in 4 additional Canadian gold development projects.
You know, they have always tracked your medical records. If someone has diabetes, you want to go to your favorite coffee shop, you like it with extra sugar, extra cream, they may not let you buy it because you're diabetic. They will know what every single thing you buy. If they think you got too much coffee, too much toilet paper, too much of anything, they're not gonna let you buy it. And that's the scariest part. I mean, who cares if you have 50 cans of coffee house or 100 rolls of toilet paper? You spent your money on it. That's what you want to spend your money on. You should be able to buy what you want.
I like to keep 200 rolls of toilet paper.
Well, I'm not going to comment on that, Ron. No pun intended on that one.
Hey, we were talking about this as well previously. Any tips you would give to the viewers, the people watching right now? All over the world are like us. They love silver and gold. Have an appreciation for it. Do you have any tips for people about how to explain silver and gold to their family members, like, at the old Thanksgiving table or anything like that? Any ideas, Chris?
I got a few ideas on that one. There is online calculators. You can play around with that. You can put in $85 silver. Look up what a silver dime will mint for at that price. If you're paying right now, it's very hard to find 90% silver at 20 times face. It's very hard. But let's just assume you bought a silver dime for $2 now. You can play with the online calculator and show them when this price hits this, that silver dime is going to be what, about $6.15, if my memory is correct. Let me check $6.15. That's 3 times your money back.
Yeah.
Another good idea is if you know your local coin shop very well. Yes, they are busy right now. They may not have even time for this. If any other coin shops listening to this, please be patient with your customers. Please. Some of them are new. Some of them don't understand what's going on. But if you're really good with your coin shop, really know the person who runs that shop or works for the shop, bring in your family members, bring in whatever you want. You're not saying this, you're gonna sell it to the coin shop. Ask the coin shop, how much you're gonna give me for this? And they will tell you, and then maybe that will get your spouse or family member a wake-up call.
That you can convert your silver or gold, especially now, but anytime. Silver and gold have always been valuable. You can always convert silver and gold to whatever form of paper money may or may not have been in fashion at any time over the last thousands of years. But yes, you can always convert your physical metals back into paper. But when you go from paper to the metal, that's also a conversion. That's important for us to remember. The other thing that you talked about earlier, the story about the 1 ounce gold piece, being able to buy a nice men's suit either 100 years, 500 years ago, throughout pretty much any time in history. That's another good example for people to kind of grasp the value, the timeless value of silver and gold.
Exactly. I mean, you know, go back to the men's suit minute. You can use anything for about $2,000.
Yeah.
If you needed cash, you can go to a coin shop, get your $2,000 for your 1 ounce gold, and go
Right.
go get your item you need to buy.
Yeah.
When we go into this digital currency, I think what's going to happen, I don't have no proof for this, so I could be full of unicorn thought dust myself here. But I think what could happen is, with these states coming on board to make it legalized to make payments, these coin shops might be able to convert this back into the digital currency too, so you can pay your online bills.
Yeah.
or what have you. We're just not there yet. We don't know.
Right. Right.
know,
Well,
but
one thing we know for sure, silver and gold have always been valuable, always, and
5,000 years.
and everywhere, right?
Right.
Except for a period of time from about 1933 through 1974, where it's just astounding to me to think that it was illegal to own gold in the United States.
That is very astounding. But
isn't it?
We can rest assured not everybody turned their silver and gold in.
Yeah.
And is that going to come to be? No, I don't see that happening. They're going to confiscate all the silver and gold. I just don't see that happening. I mean, there'd be too much riots in the streets if that did happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
More and more people are waking up.
And I think it's different now because I think back then it was more common for people. I mean, gold and silver were in the money. It was a more common occurrence for people to hold gold and silver. Whereas now the people that hold silver and gold are a pretty passionate group. And a big reason why they hold it is because maybe they're a little skeptical, just a little skeptical of what's going on with our government and the management of our national finances. So I don't think the crowd now that owns silver and gold would be quite as agreeable as maybe people were back in the 1930s. And I've even read that in the 1930s, people were actually a lot more believed and trusted the government. And I'm not saying anything personally about the government, but people trusted the government back then statistically much more than they do today.
Exactly. People today don't trust the government. Don't matter. don't matter who's in office. That don't matter.
Right.
We have $31 trillion in debt. Now I'm going to bring up another point. I could be full of dust again on saying this, but when you have a house mortgage or a car loan, credit card bills, those contracts are done in dollars. Those contracts are not going to be done now in a digital currency. what's gonna happen if we wake up Monday morning, Tuesday morning, or whatever morning we wake up, the dollar's done for. And we go into this digital currency. How are we gonna pay our credit card bills or mortgage? Does that get all wiped out? Because the
Yeah.
contract was done in dollars. Just remember that, folks. Don't, your contracts are done in dollars. They're not done in anything else. So, I mean,
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
you know, I hate to say that, but I mean, I'm not saying don't pay your bills, but your contracts are done in the US dollar.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, I was talking to my girlfriend the other night and about this, and she, and you know, but we get a couple thousand credit card bills now. And she says, well, what's going to happen if we go into digital currency and we don't pay this off in time? I says, don't know. It's a good question. She brought it up, not me.
Yeah. Well, that's because it was a good question.
I mean, I can't answer that. If anybody else can answer that, put that in the comments, please.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. And you know, Chris, I'm getting I get a lot of emails from all over the world. And I thought this was interesting because I got an email from a couple people in Australia talking about how difficult it's becoming to find physical silver and gold in Australia. And then I got another email from another guy, and I'm reading it, and they go, it's another person from Australia. It was Austria, which is spelled very similarly to Australia. And I'm getting emails from all over the world, and it sounds like what you're seeing here in the United States, and I know I'm seeing here in St. Louis, which is also in the United States, but it seems like there is still robust demand for physical metal, in particular silver, and for some reason in particular this 90% silver, which is becoming increasingly difficult to find.
You know, that's funny you say that, Ron, because we're having problems finding American silver eagles. I got no problem getting Austrian Philharmonics. I got no problem getting Australian stuff. I'm wondering if our mint is shipped. We're just trading back and forth at this point, because we can't get in this country. I would, if there's any viewers out there live in Austria or live in Australia or live in South Africa, let us know if you folks can get eagles there. I'd be interesting to know. I mean, because I'm getting, you know, it's happening all over, but it's where we both live in the United States. It's the United States stuff we can't get, or it's hard to find. I mean, we sold out. You know, I don't own the coin shop. I just work for the coin shop. We sold 5 monster boxes last week of American silver eagles. I don't know when I'm going to get more. I don't. I was lucky to get. We were able to order 5 monster boxes. They sold out in a week. They're gone.
Wow.
I got no problems getting maple leafs. I got no problems getting any other country's silver and gold. It's the American stuff I cannot get my hands on.
But the premiums are going up across the board.
Premiums are up. The maple leaves I'm seeing across the board in some areas, we're talking $10 over.
Wow.
We are right now, shop I work for, we're about 31.5
for maple leafs.
For maple leaves. The Eagles are 11.50 over.
Wow. So $36.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's unreal.
Yeah, it's unreal. Well, hey, Chris, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Ron.
Now, I mean, everybody enjoys your insight. You have a unique kind of viewpoint you can share with us because you work in the, you know, the bullion sales, coin shop, bullion dealer type environment. So we really appreciate it. And on the behalf of the viewers out there, I want to say thank you.